Hey, what's going on, everybody? Happy Wednesday. Welcome to another edition of Mean Streets, powered by FTN, presented by Game Plus Network. Chris Meaney here with you. Thanks as always for taking the time to hang out. Always a great lineup over at Game Plus Network. If you are watching on our FTN YouTube page, please smash the like button. If you have any comments, any questions, you can leave them there. A jam-packed show today. It is Masters Week officially gets underway tomorrow. Rocking the green today for our guest, Matthew Wiley. He is from Golflandia. You can check him out at Wiley77 on their Twitter machine. I'm really looking forward to chatting to Matthew, a friend of George, and just, gonna get some golf plays from him. Get his feel, of course, on Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods is really kind of stealing the show here this week. Was he going to play? Is he not going to play? And last week, you could get plus money for this guy to make the cut. As of today, I am seeing both ways. Make the cut, minus 115. Not to make the cut, minus 115. But if you got in early, good for you if you are indeed backing Mr. Tiger Woods. So going to talk to Matthew about a few of his favorite golf plays this week. From a betting standpoint, maybe sprinkle in a little DFS, and he is a hockey guy as well, and you know that I love that. So there's a handful of games on the ice tonight. We can get into the schedule with him, but I want to get his take on who he thinks will win the Stanley Cup. So we have some Stanley Cup Future Odds as well. We are, 24 hours away from first pitch in Major League Baseball, the new season kicking off tomorrow. We already have some games postponed. I saw the Red Sox and the Yankees and the Mariners and the Twins due to some weather. We always see that usually to start the season, right? Random snow in Minnesota or New York or Boston or whatnot. So a couple postponed games, but that's okay. Today we'll be hammering home the MLB Futures. For a couple weeks now, we've been talking about everything. World Series odds, win totals on the show, who's going to win the division. Today, we are going to talk about, just hammer home all of that. Now, if you're looking for a larger discussion, we have all those videos, the segments clipped on our FTN YouTube page, home run leaders, Cy Young winners, MVP, fantasy, targets. We went through the first 5 rounds in NFBC drafts. Today is the last day to draft in season long. I guess you could draft essentially tomorrow or Friday or the weekend and just kind of skip the first week, but hopefully you're not doing that. But yeah, like I said, we have that all over at our FTN YouTube page, but Tino's going to drop by and we are just going to give our MLB predictions. Who's going to win each division, the wildcard teams, NLCS champ, ALCS champ, World Series champ. We're going to talk a lot about the Blue Jays. Spoiler alert. Like the Blue Jays we both like them quite a bit this season. And I'm going to share, Tino's going to hang by, get his thoughts as well, kind of pick apart my futures and picks, but I'm going to give some win totals, my favorite win totals that are locked in on our FTN YouTube page or FTNbets.com, and also MVP, Cy Young, Rookie of the Year, and a few other little just fun futures like save leaders, stolen base leaders, who's going to have the most wins in baseball. I think there's a little bit of value to be had. I mean, futures they're fun, but it's also like you make this bet here on an April and you just like it just sits in your account. Hopefully, you get a decent cash out option. I know there's been a lot of a mess going on, those who've been, north of the border in certain books, but, you put your money in and then you don't see it again until October. It is tough, but I will say, without patting myself on the back too much, the futures have been okay over at FTN Bets over the past couple of years. I think I'd landed the job at FTN Bets because I gave the St. Louis Blues Stanley Cup pick at 33-1. That's how I met Elliot Chris and Stefano Vaccarino. I had the Blues that year to win the Cup at 33-1 in January. On this show, we were on the Rams in September at 14-1. I think Tino may even had a better number. I did have the Braves in the bet tracker last year to win the World Series, but I say unfortunately, I had them at 10-1. I thought the ticket was dead. A lot of people jumped on them before they had Soler, when they made the additions of Soler and Eddie Rosario and Duvall. I think a lot of people got him at 24-1, 28-1. And then, of course, we did have Shohei Ohtani at 50-1. We don't have crazy long shots like that, but hopefully we continue to have some success here with some futures. So Wiley's hanging by, Tino is hanging by. But first, before we do break, again, we've been pumping this over the past couple days, those north of the border, especially in Ontario, our friends over at Anthem Sports and Entertainment. It's exciting times in the sports betting world. And as you see here, Mr. Tiger Woods, who, by the way, is now Yesterday we talked about him at 71 at PointsBet, 35-1 DK, 50-1 BetMGM. Those numbers are now gone, right? When you see Tiger in front of the camera and he's like, oh yeah, I can compete. I'm here to win, right? Just that confidence that oozes from him all the time. 50-1 is the best I'm seeing over at BetMGM, PointsBet, FanDuel. And then, DK's got him at 40-1 and Unibet has at 35-1 as well. But scan that code. Lots of greatness happening in the sports betting world, especially in Ontario. All right, we'll break. We'll bring in producer Tino. We're going to have some MLB predictions here. And then, like I said, Wiley's hanging by and we'll talk more golf here on the show. Mean Streets continues here on Game Plus Network. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Mean Streets here live on Game Plus Network. Chris Meaney, we're bringing a Tino Rodriguez _ We are going to give our MLB predictions. Something I failed to say off the top of the show is that we do have a lot of free content right now over at FTNBets.com. We have an article from Frank Brank, a.k.a. Bank. I always trip up on that because I'm always thinking bank because all the guy does is win cash. Him and MLB Dream, they put together a free article. It's actually very detailed, super cool. They went through every single team and basically just gave their best bets for each team, whether it was like a win total, World Series, division total, a player on that respective team for like a future prop, MVP or whatnot. So it was a pretty detailed article. Fantastic. You can check it out over at ftnbets.com and a lot of futures there as well. So Tino, you ready to rock? We already have a couple postponed games tomorrow. My goodness.
April showers bring May flowers, I guess. But you know something? The Mets game has not been canceled yet, so my emotions are still high. Every Met fan is fingers crossed hoping it does get canceled, so we push it off and Max Scherzer starts our opening day. If we get an extra day and some cushion because in Metsland everyone's panicking on who's going to start opening day with Jacob deGrom hurt. So we're waiting for that news with the Yankees game now being canceled. But you know what? You're on the West Coast in terms of the Angels, and I think that's going to be the most marquee matchup. I know we don't want to look too far ahead to opening day, but I think Angels-Astros is going to be must-see TV tomorrow. I'm ecstatic about that. Shohei on the hill. Astros getting going early. World Series champions. They made it again last year somehow. I think it's going to be a great matchup to start the season off.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to for the Angels to start the season 0-3. Jokes aside, but yeah, I mean, why not just start with the Astros, right? Just get it out of the way. Bring on the Astros. All right, let's start with my predictions. You can rip them apart, pick them apart, and then you're gonna have a chance to talk about yours as well. So you see the division odds or the division winners on the right here, and then the left the wild card. So I'll just start in the National League. The Dodgers are not breaking any news here. I mean, those first three hitters with Turner, Mookie, and Freddie Freeman, they're going to be extremely competitive this season. So I have them, although last year they didn't win the division. We'll just say that. They didn't win the division. It was surprisingly the San Francisco Giants. I have the Milwaukee Brewers in here to win the Central. And then in the East, I went with the Braves. Even with Freddie Freeman gone, the addition of Matt Olson, I still like their bullpen. Kenley Jansen was brought in. I like their lineup up and down. I don't see a whole lot of holes in their lineup, maybe in the back part, but it's still a lineup that's pretty good. And you know what? Last year they got it done with some pitchers that weren't 100%. So hopefully the Canadian boy Mike Soroka can return this season towards the later part of the year potentially. Maybe give them a little bit of a boost, but I still love their staff. Over in the American League, I'm going with the Bluebirds. Not a hole in their lineup. I don't really like Hyunjin Ryu and Yusei Kikuchi, but you put them in the back part of the rotation, it's fine, right? You bring in Kevin Gossman. I like a lot of what the Jays have to offer. Manoah, I think, is going to be the pitcher of the year for the Jays in fantasy baseball land. I went with the Astros. It pained me to do it, right? I can't be a complete homer here, but I picked Houston to win the division and the White Sox to win the Central. So over on the left was really tough, right? You get another extra wild card team. How the playoffs are going to work this season. The top two teams in the American League division winners will have a bye. Same in the National League. And then you'll have the 3 wild cards with the third division winner kind of duke it out. So I went with the Phillies. I really like their lineup as well. I have a lot of question marks about their pitching, of course. I put the Padres in here. I know you're going to rip them in a little bit, but I did go with San Diego. Tatis is going to be away from the team for a couple of months. I just really like the upside of the staff. Now, there's a lot of question marks I have with the pitching staff. Can they stay healthy? But I don't think they need all of the pieces to stay healthy. And if they don't, you could see Paddock get, into the rotation. We could see Mackenzie Gore, get into the rotation. So they do have a lot of moving pieces. The offense is not spectacular, but I also think they have so much depth that maybe they'll make another trade, right? They've been rumored to make a deal with your Mets, Tino, potentially bring in a bat there. I think it could be a good fit. So I have them in, and I have the Cardinals in as well. It was really tough, honestly, to leave the Mets out. The Mets were sitting there. The San Francisco Giants were sitting there. More on them in the next segment. Those are two teams that I think will definitely battle. And then the wild card, I have the 2 AL East teams. I'm sorry, George, no Red Sox here. And I'm not even crazy about the Yankees, but I just liked their pitching a little bit more than Boston's, and that was the difference for me. No respect across any books for Tampa Bay, but this is a team that always seems to find a way to get in at least the last 3 years they have. And then I did put in the Angels. If not now, when? All right? I don't know if Trout and Rendon are going to be hurt all year again. I like the kids and Adele and Marsh. I thought they did a great job of revamping the bullpen this season, and I know it's a very small sample size, but Noah Syndergaard looks pretty good. And then I got the Brewers going the distance against the Jays, and Tino will bring you on here, and I know you want to talk about the Brewers as well, but the reason I went with Milwaukee, and I know that it didn't work out for them last year in the postseason, and I know that they don't have a really good offense, but in the playoffs, it's all about pitching. It's all about chucking. It's all about bullpens. Teams don't really hit in the playoffs. So I am leaning with Milwaukee here because of that rotation in Burns, Woodruff, and Freddie Peralta, right? You got Williams and Hader in the bullpen. I think it's terrific. I think they're going to be a really tough team, especially, you play in a 3-5 series. It's really tough to go at those 3 pitchers. Yes, I would like to see them add another bat, and they probably will need to do that. Yelich will have to be fantastic. I like the Hunter Renfroe addition as well. I think he could add them a little bit of pop. So that is what I'm going with. We'll talk more futures in a little bit. I'll give the mic to you if there's anything you want to say, and then we'll bring up your predictions as well.
I want to start this by saying I love you, but there is absolutely no way the Milwaukee Brewers are making the World Series. Well, look, here's the catch. They haven't made it past the first round in 4 years. Now, granted, they made it to the NLCS like 5-6 years ago. But last year, their offense let them down in the playoffs. They got shut out twice. The one game they wanted was 2-1. I just don't think, as great as their pitching is, and this is coming from a Met fan, and honestly, thank you for leaving the Mets off, because I also need to make sure people bring them back down to earth. Even without Jacob deGrom, people are still high on them. Talk them down. Set the expectations low. As low as possible, and we'll exceed it. I'm worried about Milwaukee's offense because last year in the postseason, they didn't score in 2 of the 3 games that they lost, and that's the issue, right? You have to score at least a little bit. And so Willy Adames saved them. They traded for Eduardo Escobar, who really gave them the boost as well. Adames has struggled this offseason. He's been striking out a ton. He has a lot of power, but I told you, and while we were chirping, they can make a run, but Willie and Christian Yelich are just going to have to power the entire roster. And we've seen players just have postseasons before and do it. It's just them getting bounced in the first round the last 4 years is a huge concern for me maybe they could even make a run to get to the World Series, but to win it, Meaney, ow. Ow, hurts my heart.
It was. I did want to come in here with the Dodgers or the Braves. Like, that's just no fun, right? Fair. To do. That's like, it's no fun, and you're going to give some love to the Blue Jays. I think that they're going to be able to make a legitimate run as well. So, all right, let's bring up your predictions.
Right. So, I threw some love. I'll go all over the board really quick. I threw some love to the Phillies here too, even though I am a biased Met fan. I have them making it in despite their pitching being terrible. I love their offense as well. I think Milwaukee is a playoff team. I just think they're a wild card team. The Mets, optimistic at best, highest wild card spot. That's the best I can do. I told you I had them advancing to the NLCS, but there's absolutely no way for my own sanity could I commit to doing that. I want to show love to the St. Louis Cardinals. Yeah, I guess we could build it behind what I was telling you before. Let's have Albert Pujols end out on top with the Cardinals. But in reality, this team won 90 games last year, and I don't understand how. Adam Wainwright is not a bona fide ace anymore, and he's their ace right now. If Jack Flaherty can somehow come back healthy within the next month and a half, I really think with Gallegos closing games at the end there, they have enough little guys there, and that division it's just not good enough for me to see them not at least making the playoffs. And if they get there, look, they took the Dodgers to the bottom of the ninth in Los Angeles in that wild card game, and Chris Taylor walked it off. They were up most of that game. I think they can hang. I think Goldschmidt, I think Nolan Arenado, I think they got pieces there that can make them a very good potential World Series contending team. I don't think they'll win it. You know I love myself some Blue Jays, and like I said, I did have the Mets making a run, but we're not going to have them there. Dodgers, Atlanta, I don't need to talk about it too much. I love the Braves bullpen. Their bats are still great. I think Olsen has a great year, and the Dodgers are the Dodgers. I just don't see the Giants doing what they did last year. And look, obviously you had the Padres on here. I said I'd rip the Padres. We'll get short of time if I really talk about it, but there is a reason they wanted to trade for Jose Ramirez. They're concerned about their offense too. And that is not happening anymore. As of this morning, Jose Ramirez signed his extension. I still think that was criminally cheap for what he was deserved over in Cleveland, but they signed his extension. That's not coming. And if Tatis doesn't come back anytime soon, it's worrisome. Manny Machado is going to have to play an MVP caliber year because everyone in Padres land was bashing Eric Hosmer. Well, guess what? He's still your starting first baseman now. We'll go to the AL really quick. The two guys that are on here that I think are contrarian are the Seattle Mariners, who won 90 games last year, and I'd love to see them get in with that last wild card spot. I don't think they have the juice to make a deep run, but here are the two storylines I want to talk about if things pan out this way. We have the dudes from Minnesota who were traded and shipped off going back to New York, and Gio Urshela and Gary Sanchez. You have Sonny Gray, a former Yankee, going back in there. I'd love to see them go to New York and go play in the Bronx for a wild card game. And then if the Yankees win, they'd have to go play Houston, and I have Houston as my one seed. I just would love – these are some things when I was seeding this out. These are some matchups I would also just love to see. And I think Toronto, if they want to advance, the White Sox would be the perfect matchup for them because similar to the Brewers, they can just knock it out of the first round no matter what they do. So this would be the ideal scenario for me on how the Blue Jays could get there. And if they get to the dance, man, I just think that lineup is just dangerous. It's dangerous. I know pitching matters in the postseason, but look, you saw with the Braves last year, they didn't have their aces and they kind of pieced it together. You still needed some big arm performances, but I also think you don't need the biggest names in the game anymore to make a run in the postseason. So I think the Braves changed my mindset last year with doing that and show what you can do with their bats. St. Louis is a little stretch, but I do think we're on the same path. I think the Central have a very easy path through the postseason. So
that's why I had him in too.
Be a part now too. Go ahead.
I mean, narrative street, right? I mean, let's get the Twins in with the Yankees and the Yankees and the Astros. I mean, that would be highly entertaining to see those matchups. No, I mean, I like where you're at. I don't think it's a stretch where you had. I mean, Seattle was tough. I went with the Homer side. I do think the Angels or the Mariners, one of those two teams are going to be knocking on the door. I do believe that one of those two teams will get into the playoffs. And, you know, from the American League, it just seems like it's the White Sox. Like, yeah, we like the up-and-coming Tigers and we like the Royals. We're flirting with those win totals, but I don't think any of us really believe that they could get into the postseason.
We've been picking on the White Sox lately, and it's funny that we both have them for the division. It's like
they're winning it.
Yeah, if I'm picking, I got to go with the chalk and take the White Sox, but like it just wouldn't surprise me if one of those other teams, you know, help them get to that under total that we've been talking about and Mike's been talking about in the chat and just, you know, make their season just not as easy as it's been. The thing with Minnesota, I just wanted to talk about it. They finished in last place last year, but that's a playoff team and a division winner the 3 years before. So they just
a lot went wrong for them last year.
Right, exactly. And if Byron Buxton, I just want to throw love to Byron Buxton. Can he stay healthy? He's probably one of the most exciting players in baseball, and this man will never go 162. But similar to the Angels, keep that man on the field. It's a better game when he plays baseball.
I would agree. Convery checks in. It's been a very perfect amount of poking fun. Yeah, no, we had some fun here with all of that. I think there was something I wanted to say. Oh yeah, like how cool would that be? The actual last dance. Like forget Rogers and Devontae Adams. The actual last dance for Wainwright, Yadier Molina, and Albert Pujols. If they were to go to the World Series and somehow win, my goodness, that would be absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Look at Convery's checking in. Kopech, Keuchel, yikes. I love Kopech. I think the guy is a stud. I want to see him inside the rotation. I think he's an absolute baller. Keuchel is, we don't have time to get into Keuchel. All right, we'll take one more break. I do like those predictions, Tino. It does seem like we're both on board with the Jays to have a really big season offensively. The additions that they made inside the rotation as well. It should be a fun year for Toronto Bats. Wiley's hanging by. Actually, you know what? We'll bring in Wiley. I told him, roughly around 12:35. We'll bring in Wiley. We'll talk some golf. We'll talk some NHL, and then we'll bring you back in. And I have some other MLB futures that I wanted to address, and we can have a fun conversation when it comes to that as well. So we'll have a quick break here, and we'll bring in Wiley. It's Masters Talk here next on Game Plus Network. Welcome back to Mean Streets here, live on Game Plus Network. Chris Meaney, we bring in Matthew Wiley of Golflandia on the Twitter machine at Wiley77. Matthew, welcome in, man. Thanks for taking the time here.
What's up, Chris? It's a busy week, huh?
Yeah, it is a busy week. Yeah, like how amped are you? And how I'd ask you how much work you've done over these past couple of weeks to prepare for the Masters, but I know that's a whole lot here. But you ready to go? We're a little under 24 hours away, and everybody just keeps talking about Tiger Woods.
Yeah, the workload is less than you think, surprisingly. I mean, this is honestly, the content volume right now for the Masters is kind of suffocating, but it's, as one of my friends put it, at Circling the Drain, that we know more about this course than really any other major. It's the only one that doesn't change. The field is small. 60% of it you can wipe away. And so, the magic starts tomorrow, though, right? And then you've got, like you said, Tiger, which is, and I've used this reference before, but he's just taking in all the oxygen. The crowds are insane. He looks completely equipped, and he admittedly says he has all the shots to win. And I believe that he would say otherwise if he did not. It's just a matter of whether or not he can handle the walk on that mountain for 4 days and hit shots on uphill lies which is more pressure on his right leg, which is the injured one. So.
Yeah, well, like he's easy to believe when he says those sort of things, right? Like, I'm ready to go and I can hit every shot. I
Right.
do believe him as well. But like you said, right, Augusta is very hilly. It's going to be, I think it's going to be a challenge. A lot has changed over, the past week and a half since he said he was going to be ready to go. I mean, just even yesterday, Wiley, 70-1 at PointsBet for him to win, 35-1 DK now, 50-1 BetMGM. You see the 35-1 there, minus 115 to make the cut, to miss the cut. I'm seeing 12-1 top 5, plus 500 top 10, plus 200 top 20, 11-1 top 5 after round 1. Everything is circled here around Tiger Woods. But I just want to get your thoughts here before we move on to some other players. Do you think he makes the cut?
Yeah, and I've used this analogy a couple of times in other podcasts, but Tiger Woods could top 10 wearing a spacesuit at Augusta, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he is so. This is about. He said this personally a few years ago about, I think pre-2019. It's about how you play the course, and that's why prepared, experienced, veteran shot makers win here. And that's why it takes a while to win here and get your green jacket, because you have to know you have to be very defensive. Rory's just learning that now. I'm not going to start attacking on Thursday. I'm going to let the course come to me more and make a move when it matters. You have to know where to miss, how to play the swirling winds, and then sort of conserve your energy, because the crowd, I mean, if you've never been, it exceeds standards of what you believe it would be. It's a mythical place, right? The energy is just so intense that it kind of can haunt you. And so he's got all the shots. He still has likely the best short game in the world. Right. He's the most experienced there and the best equipped to play it. And Freddie Couples said, he was not just hitting drives, he was bombing it. So, and he would say, I may have heard him before say, listen, I don't know what my body's going to give me. Don't expect much.
Yep, you're right.
He stone-faced Daniel Rappaport and said, I'm going to win.
And that's why the odds are crazy as of today, right? And then they're changing considerably. George checks in and says, Wiley, who's going to win and why is it Rory? Let's talk about the top of the board here and take a look at that. And I want to get your strategy, because you are saying, you got to cross some guys off the list. And I think everything you're saying makes a whole lot of sense, right? I mean, you got to be able to putt here. First timers don't have a lot of success. You have to have the experience. This is the top of the board here, Wiley, from DraftKings, of course, Rom up at the top at 9-1. You got a bunch of guys here at 20-1 and Schauffele, and then Rory, who, George, your guy. George was talking you up, Wiley. He's jacked that you're on the show here. I am as well, but he definitely wants to hear your take on Rory. And then we got Koepka in there at 20-1. Jordan Spieth, I think he's going through something here at the moment at 22-1, but obviously a guy that's had a lot of success here. And then Cantlay. Why don't you just talk to us about your thoughts on Rory here?
Okay, let's start with Rory. And George Z is one of the most talented people in America. Shout out and hello to George Z, if you don't know him.
Nice.
But you do. So Rory, if you look at the past winners of Augusta, well, one of the things that you cannot get away with is great short game. Elite short game, not just great, elite. Phil, Bubba, Tiger, obviously, best all time. Crenshaw. Sergio, underrated hands, right?
For sure.
Because you are not going to stick every pin. And you're going to miss greens. And you're going to have to be very creative with your wedges in order to, these are firm, they're fast. It's like a tortoise shell. And it's going to be windy, right? Spieth, another one. So Rory, do you associate one of the best drivers of all time with Rory? Yes. He could get away with deficiencies in short game because of his elite iron play, which just has not been there this year. Now, typically at majors, he gets the limelight. It is Rory's, especially at the Masters. Look at Portrush at the Open a few years ago in Ireland, right? Caved, hole one.
Yep.
When the pressure's on at the Masters here, cave. Now, The benefit, and he owes Tiger this, is that Tiger's taking all the heat. There's really no talk of Rory comparatively to other years. So does that alleviate some pressure? He talked about not forcing the issue. But outside of that, his game's not been really there. And I mean, he does well here, but there's a big difference. Spieth is one I like. Now, has he played up to Spieth standards? No. But Ben Coley put out a stat. Regardless of form coming in, 32 rounds he's played at the Masters, 23 are par or better. 10 of 32 are under 70. And so 9 only over par, and not by much.
It's pretty impressive.
It's remarkable.
Yeah.
His mannerisms, the way he was speaking at the interview, he seemed completely ready for this week and completely ready for what this course is going to bring him. He said it was the firmest and fastest, granted Monday, and it rained 2.5 inches Wednesday, or yesterday. What the heck? What's today? Is it Thursday? Has this started?
It should. It feels like Thursday. I wish it was Thursday, but we're here on a Wednesday.
But he said he said it was the firmest and fastest he's ever seen it in his life, and it's going to be like that on the weekend, right? 20-mile-per-hour winds. So I don't know if you have a big board up there if you want to talk more names, but
let's sort of back up, Tino.
Yeah, I mean you have listen. The longer you and further and straighter you can drive a ball, the shorter the club you have into the green. Which for par 5 scoring, where you make your hay around here, I don't know if that's an analogy, but you see a lot of the big ball strikers like a DJ or a Rahm having success here, or even a Rory, because you have that advantage, especially into prevailing winds. So Koepka has got it all. He's got the attitude, he's got the calmness, he's got the Tiger won't phase him, nothing will phase him. He can bomb it, he's got great touch, and his record in majors. That would be my guy. Spieth, I'm looking at. But for the same reasons that I would discount Colin Morikawa and Hovland, which people like, is for those deficiencies around the green, particularly Hovland. Now, they could prove me wrong, especially on a softer course Thursday or Friday if it turns out to be that way. But for me, it's a DJ, it's a Koepka, it's a Spieth types. Rahm short priced, but and he hasn't looked great.
No, he hasn't. He hasn't looked all that good this season. There's a couple guys I wanted to throw at you. I wanted to throw Sergio as like a long shot 80-1. I know you kind of touched on him and the short green stuff. I really like Willie Zalatoris, and I don't know. I'll let you speak on him. I mean, you're the golf expert here. It does seem like maybe he's a little bit too raw, or he doesn't have the short game. Like the flat stick is probably not where it needs to be for him to take it down. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, and expert is a term I just cannot attach to myself, but thank you. Yeah, because that raises the standard too high. We'll see. I don't know. Last year, you look at the miscuts last year. Brooks, Rory, DJ. It was carnage, and then Wilsey has a second. So you think, is that somewhat of an anomaly? I mean, he's had a couple of bad tournaments for his standards, and he certainly doesn't have the around the green game that a lot of these other guys do, and he doesn't have that's the big question mark. Was that just a blip? Can his iron play be as elite as it was last year? And it has been around different courses this year. I don't know. I mean, he's certainly a gutsy player, and he certainly hits it far. He seems to have the temperament like a Corey Connors to be able to wash away bad holes and just go out and attack. I think his pricing's right. I thought it would be higher. So it's going to be an interesting spot for Wilsey. I would not talk myself out of him. He's definitely going to be in play for me.
Nice. Anything else, if you're unfamiliar with Game Plus here, Mean Streets here, it's, we don't have too much time. We got to roll through the 46 segments or 46 minutes on the 6 segments. And I really wanted to talk hockey with you because George says you're a big hockey guy as well. Sure. So we'll break in a minute or so, but I just wanted to give you the mic again. If there's any other golfer, maybe from a DFS standpoint, or if anybody else is on your mind, somebody you'll really be watching if they have a good first round, maybe you'll get involved or anything like that. Is there another golfer you want to throw out at us?
No, I mean, there's the old guard, right? That the window is closing for them to put on a green jacket. I was watching, I think 2007 or 2009, 2007, the year Zach Johnson won, and Justin Rose, and how young he was there, right? Like you can never discount the Justin Rose types. He was -7 and the leader by 4, and the leader for 3 rounds, I think, last year. Even though his form sucks and I can't sell anyone on him, I'm still Rose is a good price.
Yeah,
that'll be one.
Dude, Rose always hangs around. I feel like, especially at majors, like maybe not always,
but he's got all the shots, right? I mean, he's got all the
exactly.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and he's got the experience for sure. All right, Wiley, fantastic, man. I love it. Hang on, man. One more segment, we'll break, and I want to talk some NHL with you. So keep it locked. Mean Streets continues here on Game Plus Network. You're watching Mean Streets here live on Game Plus Network and our FTN YouTube page. Chris Meaney here with Matthew Wiley of Golflandia at Wiley77 on the Twitter machine. A fantastic follow. We just finished talking about some Masters. I know there was a question about how you're feeling about JT. Maybe if we have some time for that, but we only got 3 or 4 minutes here, Wiley. You want to touch on JT quickly before we get into the NHL Futures? I got some stuff for you.
Yeah, I would say out of all the question marks at the Masters, JT for me is probably one of the biggest. His relationship with Tiger is really strong, and Rom alluded to that in his interview about how JT it has such a tight relationship with Tiger that no one else has. And I don't know if the giant shadow that Tiger's casting is going to help or hurt him. He's got bones on the bag now. I just think that he has a lot of misses off the tee, and his putting has not been as sharp as it has in previous years to have the game that wins a major. And I just don't think, I don't know. I mean, JT is not someone I'm going to probably pay that price for this week. I don't think.
Nah, 12-1 is really tough. But I don't think any of us would be shocked if the putter does start to heat up. That's what I've noticed from him over the past couple of years is the inconsistency with the flat stick. So, Wiley, let's talk some hockey. There's only a few games on the ice, but I do have some futures here I wanted to share. Just kind of get your thoughts on who you like here to potentially win the Cup. I mean, Florida was 26-1. Now they're, before the season started, now they're plus 550. The Flames as well, before they went on that run and acquired Toffoli and Yarncroc, they're at 25-1. Now they're 9-1. The Panthers just seem to come, they just play highly entertaining games. Last night down 5-1, come back in the Leafs and win that one 7-6.
Yeah.
I find it very interesting to see Vegas here at 20-1. I know if they made the playoffs, maybe we could see Stone and Pacioretty in the lineup, and they, they most likely would have a matchup with Colorado. I hope too. Like, please give us that.
Right.
But interesting to see them at 20-1, especially with Dallas and Nashville winning last night, and then seeing Nashville and Los Angeles down at the bottom there. I think the Kings would be a really tough team to play in the playoffs at 50-1 as well. But what do you see? Any value here? And maybe value aside, who do you think wins the Cup this year?
Well, I grew up in hockey in Toronto, right? That was my life.
Okay.
And so I know more about the game of hockey than I do probably golf, which is not saying much. But I'm a Toronto goober, a complete homer. and they haven't won the Cup since 1967. And every year we go into thinking that they're going to win the Cup, right? So this is the year. I think an Austin Matthews is a transcendent NHL player. I think their lineup, their forwards are some of the best in the league, if not 1A. The thing is, the two things that I think that winning Cup teams need is obviously elite goaltending, which Toronto does not have, and then sort of a lunch box, hard hat, blue collar. Back in the 90s, we had, dating myself, Bill Berg, Darcy Tucker, Ty Domi, Wendell Clark, who actually sent me a cameo on my birthday. Actually, that was from Saul Goodman. It was the best, right?
Nice.
But those guys who could just, that is the blue collar Toronto area attitude, is that I want a guy who makes a low salary, who puts it all out on the line every night, because then Toronto fans complain about, the media pressure in Canada is insane. It's insane.
I agree. Yeah.
That's why the Canadian have been the last teams in Canada to ever win a Cup, and it won't happen again this year. So then, realistically, and then you need an all guts defenseman, right? A Peter Angelo, Chris Pronger, who would not only take you out, but then would take your family out.
Yes.
Just the nastiest MFer on earth. I don't know if I can swear.
And then did. It's all good. I remember Pronger when he put Zetterberg's head basically through the glass in that one year that he was with the Ducks. I mean, he's vicious. You do need those type of players. Yeah,
and then Chara for the Bruins, right? And so, I just looked at those odds, which I had not seen for futures. But you look at the Lightning. Okay, so let's say the Lightning. The Lightning have won back-to-back. What has changed? They still have 1 or 1A best goalie in the league. They still have the same roster top to bottom, and they've got the blue collar Pat Maroon type who will put your face to the boards. He's big enough, he's strong enough, he's tough enough, he wins cups all the time, and they've got that continuity year to year, and they know how to do it. Plus, the big thing is, it ain't Canada. There's no pressure. These guys go to practice and then go out in the Gulf and fish. Yeah. I mean, I remember years ago when us donkeys thought Stamkos was coming to Toronto, and we all deciphered these clues that Stamkos was coming, and he trolled us. He's like, what the fuck would I go play there? Excuse me.
No, it's all good. I was in Toronto when that moment was happening, and he was on billboards like a Canadian Tire. They had little cutouts of Stamkos and just
I had a Stamkos jersey already.
Get him over there. Yeah, you had a Stamkos jersey already. Dude, I don't think it's the Leafs' year, but I do believe that this is the year that they do win a playoff series. I think, what you said, right? The questions that they have in goal. I think the best shot for the Cup to come back in Canada, and we do have to get out of here, Wiley, unfortunately.
Don't say the Oilers.
The Calgary Flames. Oh. Calgary Flames. Not the Oilers. I mean, you could say the Oilers, right? I mean, the Leafs, same sort of deal, right? Where's the goaltending come from? But I think the Flames do have a lot of those pieces that you mentioned, right? Like the hard-nosed players, like a Matthew Tkachuk. They're really tough to play against as well. I don't know. I have some questions about their defense, but I think they're okay in goal. What
about the Rangers, man? I mean, the Rangers got it.
Shesterkin.
Yeah, exactly. They got a good defense. They got Ryan Reed.
Defense. Yeah.
So that goes out to Saul Goodman DFS. Thank you. Big time rating.
I appreciate it, man. We could have chatted a lot longer, I think, about PGA and NHL as well. So I do appreciate it. Good luck with all your picks of the Masters. And I guess good luck to your Leafs. I'm a Habs guy.
Happy to help.
I'm a Habs guy, right? So, I mean, you got it going on more than Montreal does. That's
disgraceful.
We'll say goodbye to Wiley. Check him out on the Twitter machine, Wiley77 Golflandia. We're going to talk some more baseball. I'll get some NHL picks to round out Mean Streets. Keep her locked.
Thanks.
All right, a little bit more hockey talk towards the end of the show. I'm just going to go solo here with some of my MLB predictions, just as a couple futures. These are some things that I'm going to have in the FTN bet tracker. So, Tino, if you want to, throw this up and we'll just kind of roll through it. So, a lot of these we've already really touched on through the past couple of weeks, but these are live numbers. Oakland is in the bet tracker at under 70.5. Since they traded Sean Manaea, that number has dropped down a little bit, but I think they continue to sell pieces. I think the next guy could be gone as Frankie Montas. Same with Washington, under 71.5. I think this is like a 60-win team. That's it. It's Juan Soto, and that is it. There's not a lot of protection in the lineup. Nelson Cruz will be shipped off. He'll have a good season. He'll chip in with some bombs. He'll protect Soto a little bit. Same with Josh Bell, but this is a team that just doesn't have it. They don't have the pitching staff. I don't believe in Patrick Corbin, unfortunately. You guys know I like the Brewers. I think that they could get to mid-90s, just like last season. The Angels, I wanted to put Seattle on here too. I didn't want to overload with some of the futures, but I do like the Seattle Mariners as well. You can also get them at 83.5. The Tigers with some of the kids. I like the Austin Meadows edition. Eduardo Rodriguez there. I think he's in for a bounce-back season. And then San Fran, for a team that won 108 games last season, I just think Vegas is being a little bit unfair to their win total at 85.5. Even last year when they were the best team in baseball after the trade deadline, they were 25-1 to win the World Series. Like, they just get no respect at all. Usually with San Fran, it goes 1 year you're good, 1 year you're bad. It goes like that. Or even when they won the World Series, right? Great World Series, not making the playoffs. World Series, not making the playoffs. So maybe if you follow trends, they're not going to have a good season this year. But 85.5. It's just way too low for the Giants. I got Vlad here as the MVP. You know what? I don't know if Shohei set a precedent last year, if he has a similar season this year as last year. Do they just give him the MVP? Do they say, okay, well, you know what? You had MVP last year. Now we'll give it to Vlad. Does Vlad need to win Triple Crown to win the MVP? What I think about Shohei is I think he's going to take a step back in the batter's box. I think pitchers are going to adjust to him. I saw some fatigue last year towards the end of the season. I think we could see that as well this year. I think he's going to be phenomenal as a pitcher. I think he has a better chance to win the Cy Young than the MVP, and that may be just a little bit crazy to talk about, but I think he's going to regress as a batter this season. Freddie Freeman, my MVP in the NL. I was back and forth between him and Bryce Harper. AL Cy Young, this is a bit of a long shot. I really like McClanahan. I think he's got some swing and miss stuff. The Rays just have these type of pitchers. I don't know if he's going to flirt with 180, 200 innings. I pretty much guarantee he won't. But he's going to have a lot of swing and miss in his upside. The ERA is going to be strong. He's going to get some run support. I got Burns going back-to-back. AL Rookie of the Year, I got Bobby Witt, and then I got Suzuki there. Suzuki for the NL Rookie. Just an experienced back coming over. He's like mid-20s. I think he has a whole lot to offer in there. And then you see the World Series. I still like the Jays, even though I went with Milwaukee at 16-1, pretty good odds. But you can get the Jays over at Caesars at 10-1, and then the Padres there is a bit of a long shot at 18-1. I can see Tino right now rolling his eyes. We got one more segment here on Mean Streets. We got some shot props to talk about. Yesterday was a nice bounce back day for us. Leon Draisaitl just somehow didn't play. I don't even know what the heck happened to him, but we did get McDavid, and we did get a couple others. So hopefully we can finish strong here as well. One more segment to talk about here on Mean Streets. Keep her locked. We're still on the air. Welcome back to Mean Streets here live on Game Plus Network. I had a couple more MLB futures that I just forgot about. I wanted to bring up quickly. So home run leaders, man, Vlad at 10-1, I think is a pretty good price. I want to sit here with the chalk, but I think that's a pretty good price for Vlad. Olsen at 20-1. We got Jordan Alvarez there at 18-1. I do believe that's over at Caesars. And then a couple long shots there. Tyler O'Neill, I mean, he was the hottest player in baseball, one of them down the stretch of the season, particularly in the final couple months of the year. I think he does have tremendous pop at 50-1. I think that's a really strong number. DK's got him at 30-1. That's over at Caesars as well. We gave the QR code atop the show. And then Luis Robert, just maybe that breakout does happen. Trey Turner to lead the majors in stolen bases at plus 650. He's not even the favorite there. I think he should be. Saves, Josh Hader. I was thinking about Raisel Iglesias as well, but 16-1 is pretty decent for, I'm all in on the Brewers, clearly. And then to lead the league in wins, we got Corbin. Hopefully some run support, right, Tino? For Mr. Corbin Burns at 20-1. All right, here's what I'm thinking in the NHL tonight. Only 5 games. I want to come at you with some shot props. I do think the Flames roll against the Ducks. I'm comfortable taking them on the puck line. They do have the front half of a back-to-back, so I still think I'm fine if Riddick does get the start, or if Later, gets the start for Calgary. But I'm going with Jack Eichel. This is a must-win situation for the Golden Knights. He is just taking his game to another level here over the past couple weeks. I think Eichel and Marchessault are both in play. They're both shooting the puck quite a bit. They just had a matchup against the Canucks, and both of them hit. Eichel has cleared 3.5 in 5 straight in 6 of his past 7 games. Tyler Toffoli is cleared in 4 straight games. I really like Matthew Tkachuk. You just can't take him as a single. He's juiced up. 2.5 is around minus 155, minus 160. It's a little tough to get behind a single shot prop at that price. But if you want to do some parlays, maybe you want to go Matthew Tkachuk and Eichel, I think that's okay. Matthew Tkachuk and Marchessault, I think that's fine as well. But I think Toffoli at minus 110, I think is a pretty good price. Again, he is cleared in 4 straight games. Vladimir Tarasenko, a matchup here against the Kraken. He's been a little bit inconsistent. He's been stuck on 2 quite a bit, but he has cleared 2.5 in 3 of his past 5. And then my bonus here, just a bit of a plus money play. Like I said, I do like Marchessault. I do like Matthew Tkachuk, Johnny Hockey. I think he can get behind Pavel Buchnevich, but I think this play here in Daniel Sprong is a plus money play. He's cleared in 4 straight games and 5 of his past 6. And the Blues have been a little leaky defensively as well. So for Sprong, getting an opportunity here with the new team and the Kraken, getting some power play opportunity as well. Tommy Lee checks in. Do you... JT Miller and Josh Morrissey tonight? Josh Morrissey's been really good. I did leave some Jets off the board. Kyle Connor's going to be back in the lineup today, and Nikolai Ehlers going to be back in the lineup. Both those guys at 3.5 minus 140. I think I'd rather take them to score a goal and maybe for each one of them to have an assist. You can get around plus 200 for Ehlers to get an assist. I would take JT Miller. JT Miller has been unbelievable this season. Some books offer plus money at 2.5 shots. I think he's better suited for a point or an assist, but the point's going to be juiced up. The assist, you can probably get at a good price, but I would lean JT Miller over Josh Morrissey. But Tommy Lee Morrissey has been money in the bank, right? Over the past couple of weeks, he's been really, really strong. A great DFS play as well tonight. The Jets are going to roll over the Detroit Red Wings, I do believe. I think I'd take them on the puck line. All right, we're out of here. Enjoy the Masters tomorrow, and we will be back then. Cheers.